Down front, Mr. Allen. DWade Reagan, Arizona Republic. Welcome
Thank you.
to Phoenix. Just a two-parter first. When did you find out about the trade, and what was your initial reaction? You went from playing with Giannis and Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday to now playing with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal.
Yeah, I was actually playing FIFA when I looked down at my phone and I had 3 missed calls. And the 3 people it was, I knew right away. I was like, oh, I just got traded. So I walked over, and I called my agent back with my wife. But I told her before, I was like, we definitely just got traded. Let's find out where. And when he said Phoenix, man, I was really excited. Beautiful city, contending team with great players. It doesn't get much better than that. So I know getting traded is tough. It doesn't get easier switching cities up, especially now that I'm married. Makes it tougher. But a lot worse places to go. I feel very blessed to be here.
Well, thankful you can speak loudly, because you got to speak over that.
Yeah, they're having fun over there.
But I was going to ask, you have this sort of rap of people view you as either play with an edge or play dirty or whatever it is. When you hear that, are you like, that's not fair? Why am I being viewed this way? And how do you apply that when you go to a new team where you're building some new relationships, and maybe it can be a different thought for them because you're now playing with them?
Yeah, I can't really say it's not fair because I have owned up to the stuff, and I think most of it comes from Duke. I will say, like, I've done this interview and this question 100 times, and I always say, like, I did a ton of self-reflection back when I was at Duke, and 99% of it was just immaturity and me being a kid in a man's sport, in a man's position, and just wasn't ready to handle it. I think in the NBA I've conducted myself well. I know there was an incident last year. You can believe me, you might not. It was an accident. So I think once people watch me, and I've been to 4 different teams now, and every spot I've been, I feel like the fans kind of slowly change their mind and opinion. So I'll just leave that up to people. Like, I don't go out there and play to try to change minds or change opinions, but that seems to be what happens when I go new places. So we'll see. But when people call me a competitor and someone who plays hard, I do live up to that, and I go out every night and compete, and that's what's kept me in this game for so long.
Grayson, Kellen Olson here in the front, Arizona Sports. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the Valley. With what you've experienced with Milwaukee the last 2 years, starting on an elite team like that, how much do you think those 2 years of basketball have helped you prepare for this situation where you're jumping into another important role on a contender?
A lot. I think last 2 years I've played with great players, played with multiple All-Stars, guys who are pretty ball dominant, guys who are good scorers with the ball. So I've been put into a position where I've had to be able to score off the ball, impact the game in other ways, find my spots, find how I can help out in other ways, and I was able to do that last 2 years really well. And so I think coming over here, it'll be a seamless transition. The players will be different, but just as talented. We have a very talented team, very talented offensive team, a bunch of great scorers with the ball, and so my game offensively, being able to fit off of them, I think it's a perfect fit for me. I'm really excited. Yeah.
And Gerald Bourguet, PHNX, nice to meet you. Welcome to the Valley.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, obviously we know you guys have a ton of offensive firepower, but defensively, how do you like your fit on that end and being able to play for a coach like Frank Vogel?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I feel like defensively, like I've had an offensive game for a while, and it's just about getting comfortable, and I feel like defensively I've improved each year I've been in the league, with last year stepping up and having harder assignments and playing better defense. So I think this year, like, we can be a team that's really disruptive with either small or big lineups. I can't give you too much detail. I've only been here 3 days and I haven't had a practice yet, but I'm really excited for the fit. I think our roster is made to be a very versatile defensive team. Like we can throw a lot of different things at teams.
Grayson, Richardson, Fox 10, welcome to the Valley. We're talking to Coach Vogel about you, and he used the word scrappy when describing you, but he also said a lot of scrappy players don't have the talent and the skill set, the shooting, the basketball IQ that you have. Why is it so important for you to be that scrappy guy or the guy that does the dirty work, so to speak?
I think a lot of the stuff that he's talking about with being scrappy is just getting deflections, getting extra possessions for your team, making small little plays, and guys who aren't the star of the team. Like if you're going to be on the court, I feel like you got to do that, and it helps in a lot of ways with being a winning team. There's a lot of guys on teams that do things every night. Honestly, Josh Okogie is one of those guys. Like when we played the Suns, Josh is going to get the team a couple extra possessions, get a timely bucket, get a timely deflection or steal, like something. But he's going to play hard and find a play to make. And those kind of guys are really important to winning teams in my eyes. So if I can do that and score the ball a little bit or shoot, help out on offense, anything, like I feel like I can help the team out in a big way.
Dana Scott of Arizona Republic. Welcome to the Valley, Grayson.
Thank you.
Yeah, you played for Coach K, obviously at Duke. Old school, slap the floor, that grit from defense and all that. But what exactly is it about Coach K and preparing a lot of his players for longevity in the NBA, not necessarily always superstars like coming out of Kentucky?
One of the things that I felt like was really important at Duke was each year Coach K just kind of adapted to the team that we had. And I had a huge offensive year my sophomore year. In my junior year, we had a very different team and a much more talented team. And so we played differently. And so I played a different way. So now 4 years, I had 4 very different roles on teams instead of just kind of growing into this player than playing the same way for the last 3 years. Like, Coach always challenged me to do something a little bit different, play a little bit different, because it was the best fit for the team as a whole. So I think like his ability to adjust to his players and not just try to, fit the players that he has into his system is huge, because you get the most out of your players, and he helps us see like what you're best at, how you can contribute here, how you can use your talents here, like maybe do some things you haven't done before. So I'm very appreciative of that. And I think, again, like even going back to college, like this will be year 6 in the league for me. I've played with really, really talented players for the past 10 years of my life. And it's made it very, very easy in the NBA to adjust and play next to really talented guys.
Final 2.
Damian Adams here, Burn City Sports. Who are some of the players that you grew up watching that you modeled your game after?
DWade was my favorite player growing up. I actually told James Jones that they would come and play, those Miami teams would come and play a preseason game in Jacksonville where I grew up. They would play against Orlando. And I went to one of those games, and that was kind of what got me to be like, okay, like that's my team. I'm a DWade fan. And so he was part of the reason why my favorite number was 3. When I was outside, like practicing in the driveway, I would have the hoop lowered down to like 7.5 feet, and then each year I was putting it up a little bit more and more and more as I was able to do dunks like he was. And I know like my reputation now in the league is a shooter now, but when I first got to college, for like the first 2 years, I was a driver. And a lot of the stuff that I was doing was just stuff that I saw DWade do. So my early game was heavily DWade influenced.
Grayson over here, Chaz Messman, KYMA. What about your game specifically? I know you've only been here a couple of days, but what about your game do you think complements or can add to some of the stars that have already been here, the likes of Devin Booker and KD?
The easiest thing right away is shooting. Great players great scorers are going to draw multiple defenders. And so if you're out there with a great player, you're going to get open looks, just be able to knock them down. I think as being like a secondary playmaker, I can really help with those guys because I can put pressure on the rim. I can get to the paint, driving the ball when people close out hard. And I am a good passer, making plays in there. So being able to find those guys and make it a little bit easier for them works too. So it kind of goes both ways there. All the little stuff we'll figure out here over the next month or so.
Hey, Grayson, welcome to the Valley. Paul Richardson, Sports Cave. I look back, you've played with Ingram, you've played with Tatum, you've played with Giannis, now you're playing with KD and Book. Knowing that you've played with so many people that have so much talent as well, work ethic-wise, what does it do for you in terms of how do you push them work ethic-wise, and how do they in turn push you back?
I think like being around guys that are super talented like that, you can kind of see the greatness that they have or that they can be. Like in college, like Jaleel Okafor, my first couple of practices with him, I was like, this guy is going to be unstoppable. And so you kind of get that just feeling as a team, like man, if we work hard, like we got a chance to do something special. So I think being in the gym with all these guys, there's just going to be that feeling of like, you know, we have the ability to do something special, so we got to work just to make sure that happens. And it's much easier to get up and go in and do extra work and get your extra shots up when you have that external motivation of like you have a great team with a chance to do something great. And so it's not a lot of guys, like I don't think I need that extra motivation to get up and go work, but it's there if I do. Yeah, thank you.